Kojima Productions Report with your host Ryan Payton, flying solo here at the beginning. I thought I'd just kick off the show by covering a couple things before I lead into the second half, which is the remainder of the conversation that John Ricciardi, Mark MacDonald, and I had last week about the TGS demo, and we had lots of impressions. They asked me some questions about the control scheme and such. But I thought I'd kick off the show by saying that this podcast is a little bit later than usual because I was holding it back to see if I could inline this podcast with an announcement that we're going to make. And what kind of announcement is that? Well, I'll leave that up to you guys to speculate, but don't spin your guys' selves into too big of a tizzy because it tends to happen on the internet when you think that we're going to announce Metal Gear Solid 5, 6, and 7 as a digital download or something like that. No, it's nothing like that. But we do have a cool announcement that's coming next week, and so as the Japanese say, please look forward to it. Also on the docket is the new a mini trailer that Nintendo put out for Super Smash Bros. Brawl that features Solid Snake and also Colonel Campbell as they have their codec, and it was cool for me to see it because I wasn't directly involved in that project. I helped coordinate a couple of things, but we left that to Nintendo, and they recorded a lot of great dialogue, and the script is really funny, and so I think you guys are going to really dig what they put together with those conversations that Snake has with Campbell. And you get a little bit of taste of that in that trailer. But they record a lot of dialogue, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And you can catch that on GameTrailers.com, I noticed. And also on GameTrailers.com, on the front page as of today, is an interview that I took with the guys over there during TGS. And they asked me a lot of really cool questions about MGS4. They know their stuff, and they know what questions to ask. So I clear up some rumors, explain stuff like, about Little Gray and the control scheme, and create a little bit of controversy about, am I accusing the Japanese of not being able to play 3D games? Well, no, but I do notice that a lot of people at TGS, when they would hold the PS3 controller, their right thumb would never get even close to that right stick. So there is that barrier that they have to get over. But that's why we have the auto lock-on system, and that's something also I explained in that that GameTrailers.com video. So anyway, I got a lot of work to do. It's really fun to see that the game is really coming together. I've been working really hard on the polygon demos that we call them, or the cinematics. I checked an hour's worth of audio today, lots of codec. So it's really cool to see things, kind of all the pieces starting to come together towards the end. And I know you guys are all very excited. So again, thanks for listening to the podcast. I'll be back next week with a cool announcement. And let's just lead into that conversation that I had with John Ricciardi from 8.4 and Mark MacDonald at GameVideos.com. Thanks, guys. Maybe listeners to the podcast hadn't picked up by reading some of the most hardcore articles about the game. We had Patrick Joint come in from GameSpy, and then he was super hardcore, and he wrote up a really good write-up because I was really impressed. He's hardcore Metal Gear fan. I never knew that. And also Jason Allen from GameTap. If you want a really hardcore perspective, Shane does a good job too. Mm-hmm. But I would definitely go over to those two sites and see what they have to say about the game. But really, stuff that maybe wasn't reported the mainstream press was this, and this is basically also for the hardcore, and that's probably why it wasn't in the mainstream, is that now almost every weapon's got a secondary fire, which is a new thing for Metal Gear. And so while you're holding the L1 button, which is the aim button, usually if you just hit the R1, that's a normal fire, primary fire, and then if you hit the R2 button, that's a secondary.
Right.
And so the stun knife, for example, we showed off in the 15-minute gameplay demo, that's the stun function. The regular primary attack would just be the knife without the stun function.
Right.
So,
my thing with that too was, why not have for the pistol? I mean, I guess it's not realistic, but because you always have the regular pistol and then the trank pistol. So
right.
Why not make the trank pistol the
secondary.
R2? Yeah, the secondary fire.
I think our gun otaku team might have something to say about that.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because it's always that strict balance about realism.
Right. Well, come on. I mean, he's carrying around a rocket launcher too.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You gotta pick and choose your battles.
It's true.
I guess it does make more sense with a knife where he could flick it on or off. But I mean, I was happy to have it there for the knife. It's cool, and the other weapons too, the one that we saw where you can have a grenade launcher on guns.
Yeah, so weapons like the M4, or we have a customizable weapon that's more of a shotgun, and you can add different things to a top mount and a bottom mount. You can add a scope, you can add a grenade launcher, you can add shotgun capabilities to the M4. So
Yeah.
I mean, for gun nuts, this is going to be they're already going crazy about it. But it actually changes up the gameplay too, because I mean that's like the ultimate combination with the M4. You have long range,
Right.
And when you get close, you just
That's
hit
what I
the
was just
R2
thinking. Why do
for
I
the
need
shotgun?
why do I need any other weapon? That's the whole ball game in one gun right there.
So yeah, I mean Ken and I were just kind of joking, like we got to cut all these weapons. This is such a headache because I mean it's been a huge endeavor, like modeling these 3D models for really 70 different weapons. And
Right.
we're just going all out, and like the gun team they've had a field day. I think nobody just decided to keep them in check. It's like, all right guys, you got a year to work on this, and they come back with an amazing array of weapons and stuff.
Does that carry over to Metal Gear Online as well? The secondary fire
Absolutely.
function?
Yeah, the secondary function carries on, but you're not going to be able to carry 40 pounds worth of rifles and guns. I mean, you have to you have a primary and a secondary weapon you have to choose at the very beginning of the match.
I like it because you already have to swap in weapons
Right.
off of the side menu. So anything that keeps you out of having to go to menus, and also even keeps you from having to do the shoulder button menus,
Right.
even is like a good thing, right? You have your one gun that you don't have to pull out the shotgun every time. You have the secondary fire and a grenade launcher. Don't have to switch to grenades every time. Like
Right.
it's just like a nice little time saver.
Absolutely. I mean, I talked about there's no sacred cows in the game, but I guess in the single player and with MGS4, we do keep the L2 and the R2, but to load up that traditional weapons and
Right.
menu,
Right.
Which I think is still effective.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was always a good interface. Yeah.
And I think the last thing that I noticed, just like talking to the press and talking to people, is that some of them were surprised. They were saying, well, the game from start to finish is set in the Middle East, right? And I'm like, wait. Like, I thought we settled this about 3 months ago with the trailer, like at GC and actually at E3, where we showed Raiden and Vamp fighting in South America.
Right, but I didn't know until we were talking like a couple months later. I guess it was in the back of a press release or something that location is South America. I mean, now when you look at it, you can see, okay, this does look a little different. There's like shingle roofs or whatever, but it, yeah.
I didn't notice off the bat either.
Yeah, exactly. Like nobody. did.
I gotta say, I'm really disappointed with you guys and with the hardcore fans, because I thought that was gonna be the biggest thing. Like maybe the first 5 pages of threads on the trailer. Hey, wait, it's not only set in the Middle East, because
I had to go back and make sure that actually was in a press release, because I literally, that in the RE5 trailer, I literally frame by frame went through everything. There was no Spanish in the background. There was no guys in big fucking Mexican hats, piñatas, or any of that shit. So I actually don't feel bad about that at all. If it was in a press release, then okay, I'll have to actually start reading those stupid things. But other than that, there was no giveaway.
That's true. I mean, I'm just giving you guys a hard time, but also, I was getting those questions even after we put out the TGS trailer with we premiered, Big Mama, the voice of Big Mama, at least in the English version. And do you think that church would be in the Middle East and stuff like that? I was really surprised that people were still asking those questions after seeing that trailer.
Yeah, speaking of the TGS trailer, I've got a bunch of questions for you. We can just kind of rapid fire go down through them. Some of them are like really small, minor things. Some of them hopefully are bigger things. But just like starting off, so Jonathan is looking at some kind of contraption before he's like, oh, there's 20 of them. Like, what is that thing that he's looking at? It's just like a radar or something? Yeah,
they've set up a number of different detection devices in the area that they are.
So that's not a gameplay type thing. That's just like a.
It could be integrated some parts into the gameplay, but nothing I think you should really worry about.
Okay. And then he talks about the PMC praying mantis. That's just the name of a PMC.
That's a really good question, because that's the name of the PMC that's stationed in the Middle East. That's one of the PMCs that's a part of what we call the mother company, really the parent company called Outer Heaven. That Liquid is controlling,
AKA Blackwater.
Right. Don't shy away from it. It's topical. This is it's very absolutely. I mean, we've been looking at these real life private military companies joining different conflicts around the world, like in Rwanda, in Afghanistan, Iraq. I mean, we've been following this for a number of years, so I mean, it's become very relevant. And so when the game comes out, I think this taco could be even bigger than it is right now.
It is, yeah. I mean, you see MGS4 and you see like footage coming out of Iraq, and you see the guys the same with the hats and the earmuffs or whatever on, and the guns holding them the same way, and it is like it's almost eerie sometimes. It's like, wow, it's the same stuff. So,
but then we bring it back by having this company called Praying Mantis,
right? And then having a shaved monkey drinking Coca-Colas as well.
So that PMC is called Praying Mantis. It's based in the UK, fictionally wise. But we have a number of PMCs depending on what part of the world you're in. They have different fatigues, they have different equipment, they have different company names, and also in that demo, we had some propaganda blaring out from the Praying Mantis PMC, which I just finished recording in LA. So depending on the PMC, they're gonna have different accents and different names and different kinds of propaganda that they're blaring out in that area, saying like this area is controlled by, or for example, Praying Mantis. You know, for all your military needs, you know, this is where you come to, stuff like that. It's pretty eerie.
What about the frog guys, the guys that start off the trailer? Like that was kick-ass. That was one of my favorite parts of that trailer. Like, will you ever get to fight those guys?
Well, yeah, those are the Haven Troopers, and you know, this is the best place for like the behind-the-scenes info on the game, right? And I realized that line alone that Ed says it's the frogs, that I was as a line by itself in a trailer, it could come across as like one of those slurs for French people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
that's what I thought at first when I first heard it.
Which is why I put it in caps.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Maybe because it was in caps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe mission accomplished.
And did they just happen to be another PMC firm out of Paris?
Well, you know, it's kind of like a tradition in at least in MGS4 where characters are kind of, they have nicknames for certain things. Like,
right.
Like at the very beginning of the playable demo, Snake is he's complaining about the Yamori. He calls the gecko Yamori, which is like lizard, or like it's actually the real name for gecko in Japanese. And so in the English version, like when he says that, he's going to say this place is surrounded by lizards, or it's crawling with lizards.
Right.
As a way of kind of talking down about the gecko.
Because military slang, they always come up with slang for.
So it's a kind of similar
stuff.
thing what's going on with the Haven Troopers.
So those guys are another type of trooper that you're going to fight in the game.
Absolutely.
Cool, very cool.
I mean, you'd be disappointed if you couldn't go toe to toe with those guys.
No,
right?
I would be if they were. If after
women.
You see that, after you see that cutscene. Wait, are they all women? Really? Oh, that's interesting. Because in the artwork they look like women, but in the trailer itself, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, actually, I was impressed. Shane noticed that from the first viewing.
Right.
I mean, maybe he's always looking at people's chests. I don't know. But
right. No. Yeah. We live blogged it from the thing. He told me to put that in there, and I did. I'm like, all right, I'll take your word for it. And then the last one that John, I'm embarrassed to say, had to point out to me was the Rex Ray fight. Looks like. The location of the Rex Ray fight looks an awful lot like a very familiar location.
And what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I'm gonna bail out. I think.
Yeah.
With anything about that, because that's the one scene that I don't do PR, but
it's a very shadowy area.
That's the one thing I did not want in the trailer.
Right.
I thought that was too much of a spoiler.
Maybe we can just say to the listeners. I mean, if they've already watched the trailer and they're not concerned about spoilers, like. Go back, take a look at the background when that happens, and see if it looks familiar at all.
Oh, I gotta say, if it's what we think it is, I'm very excited about it. So,
well,
actually, did you have one other question? Did you mention? Did you want to ask about somebody's hair?
Oh, I don't need to ask about it. Meryl's hair, it's way better.
Not Meryl's hair.
Thank God they fixed it. Oh no, yeah, okay, yeah. Jonathan's hair. I noticed this actually watching the trailer. This last time, so he has the not Jonathan, but E, right? Ed. Has the.
That's Jonathan.
Oh, it is Jonathan.
Yeah. It gets confusing because there's Johnny,
I know.
Akiba, and then there's Jonathan.
Okay, so he has the mohawk.
Right.
Okay, but it's like there's a shaved spot in it, so it looks like an exclamation point.
Exactly. Okay. That's on purpose. That's on purpose.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that's what that was.
Another thing about those two guys that I noticed today when I was reading up on it is that I guess they're named after Police Knots characters.
Exactly.
Jonathan
Absolutely.
and Ed. So.
Yeah.
I was wondering why one would be named Jonathan and then you still have Johnny. It just seemed like you only have 4 people. It's kind of confusing, but I guess it makes sense. You have to have Johnny Sasaki and then.
Yeah, which is why we're calling Johnny Akiba a lot throughout the game.
In English, you're calling him
in
that?
English, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, in Japanese too. It says Johnny, and then underneath it says in parentheses Akiba.
Well, right, but I thought you would keep his name from previous Metal Gears.
Like he I think he wants to be referred as Johnny, but people in his team like Meryl, they just call him Akiba.
Right.
Like, Akiba, what the hell are you doing, kind of thing.
Right.
So it's kind of like a demeaning, like a nerdy thing. Because for those of you who aren't familiar with this term, it's kind of a shortened way of referring to the electronics section in Tokyo called Akihabara.
Where all the nerds hang out.
Exactly. And
Right.
now it's like shortened to be called Akiba. Like, are you going to Akiba today or whatever? So
you have HIDECHAN now and Akiba.
Akiba.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then you can see like on his one of his forearms, he's got a calculator on there too. So he is definitely kind of a nerdy character that
Right.
is really good with math, right? as all otaku should be.
Right, of course.
So, does that wrap up all your questions?
Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, I don't have a question about the trailer, but I wanted to jump back to the demo to stuff that not a lot of people seem to catch at the show. I didn't actually read the articles afterwards. Maybe this has been written about a million times, but I noticed during the demo that twice I just missed a little indicator on the screen to bring up.
We should definitely talk about that.
What's the word? Like a flashback.
Like flashback scene. Right?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about those? Like, are those
Sure.
going to be all throughout the game, or?
Absolutely. At two parts in the playable demo, we have cutscenes where you can hold. There's going to be at certain parts within those cutscenes. Up in the top right hand corner, there's like a circle button icon, like the PlayStation 3 circle button icon. And if you hold that down, when that icon appears, it'll flash back certain references or certain scenes that are being referenced in the script. For example, when when Snake rendezvous with Otacon for the first time, and the Mark II shows up and he says, "Yes, this is a Metal Gear just like Rex." Then all of a sudden, that circle button will appear, and you can hold down the circle button and then get back to that throbbing sound that we did for the SOP. That sound effect comes up, and then scenes from MGS1 where you can see like flashback scenes of Rex, and also for the cutscene at the very end of the demo where Snake rendezvous with Meryl for the first time. When Meryl's first introduced, that circle button comes up again, and it shows scenes with the real PS1 graphics. Like, it shows scenes of like him and her riding off in the snowmobile and all this kind of stuff. So.
Oh, okay, cool. And is it going to be in the final game? Is it that quick? That like kind of
Absolutely.
like quick and you miss it sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean there might be parts where it's a little bit longer, especially if we might put in like a few lines or two that we're bringing back. That it's not only just like these visual scenes. Like, we might have some like real voiceover lines that we're
Right.
including there too, just to
Cool.
kind of remind people, because we really have like 10, 15, some might argue 20 years of fiction.
Yeah.
That we're pulling from.
Well, and even fans, it's been a while since they've played Metal Gear Solid 2.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
and
much
it's-
less 1.
And it's just great. It's so nostalgic just to view those scenes again and like be reminded of how awesome those games were back in the day and everything. Especially since they're in their original graphics. That's
Right.
really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So there was some talk of like redoing them on PS3 or whatever. But I think seeing them in the original graphics will help you like remember. Oh, I remember what happened there.
It's almost
Definitely.
like movies show stuff in black and white to make it clear that it's a flashback.
Exactly.
It's like showing it in the.
That is how it
in the
was
crappy
when we
old
saw it.
graphics.
Maybe we had to add our imagination or something to fix Meryl's hair back then or whatever. But that's how it was.
And thanks again to John Ricciardi, Mark MacDonald for joining me on the show. I hope to have them on again, in the future, because they're always great guests. They ask the tough questions, and I know you guys appreciate that too. So that's going to wrap it up for this show. Congratulations to our webmaster. Just saw pictures actually of his brand new baby girl that was born today. So that's another reason why the podcast was a little bit delayed. Has been, he actually came to the office. He's at the office right now, and his wife just gave birth to that baby literally like 4 hours ago. So I'm going to wrap it up, let him encode this so he can get back home and hang out with his new family. So again, thanks for listening to the podcast, guys. I'll see you next week.